let's get started.
So, for those who don't know yet, IVs determine a Pokemon's base stats. Naturally, if a Pokemon has high attack IVs, they will deal more damage compared to ones with low attack IVs, even if they are the same level. This also goes for every other stat, which are HP, special attack, defense, special defense, and speed. Every Pokemon has a unique set of IVs which cannot be changed, which is why people usually resort to breeding to get Pokemon with better IVs, usually for competitive battles.
So how does IV breeding work?
Basically, you get two parents, a female of the Pokemon species you'd like to get good IVs for, and a compatible male to breed with the female. Usually, you'd want to start breeding parents with pretty okay IVs, and not completely terrible ones. Otherwise, you'd have to start from scratch, and breed until you have at least 131 IV stat, which is the highest for stat. And even then, it'll be a 1 in 32 chance to get a 31 IV in any one of the stats. Best case is you already have a Pokemon with 2 or 3 31 IVs to breed with your female. Now, the process of IV breeding is pretty simple. 3 random IVs will get passed down from either parent. It could all come from the female, or it could come from the male, but usually, it can be chosen from both parents at random. As you can see, the baby Mudkip has 3 IVs which have been passed down, and are from both parents, while the remaining other 3 are randomized. As I mentioned earlier, getting a 31 IV on a random stat is a 1 in 32 chance. So what you do is keep breeding those parents until you get new 31 IVs on one of the offsprings. If one of your starting parents has bad IVs, just keep breeding until you eventually get a Pokemon with the 31 IV stat. And once you get an offspring with the 31 IV, depending on their gender, male or female, replace the current male or female parent with the new offspring depending on their gender, so you get a better chance at breeding 31 IVs. If you already have parents with either 2 times 31 or 3 times 31 IVs, then there's a chance the game will pick a 31 IV stat from the parents to be one of the 3 stats that will be passed down to the offspring. Basically, the more 31 IV stats the parents have, the higher chance that the offspring inherits a 31 IV as well. Remember, if you manage to hatch a Pokemon that has better IVs than one of their parents, always replace either the male or female parent with the better IV offspring, depending on its gender. Now that we've gone over the basics of IV breeding, let's talk about some items that can help speed up the process. So first, we have power items, mainly the power anklet, power band, power belt, power bracer, power lens, and power weight. Each is for a corresponding stat, which would be speed, special defense, defense, attack, special attack, and HP respectively. So how are these useful for IV breeding? Well, whichever power item you give to a parent allows the parent to pass down its IVs of the corresponding stat of the power item. So if my Pokemon has a 31 IV on speed, for example, then I can give it a power anklet so it can pass down the IVs of its speed. The next item is a destiny knot, an item which, when held by either parent, allows the parents to pass down a total of 5 IVs to the offspring instead of the normal 3 IVs. This can prove really useful for speeding up the IV breeding process. Additionally, your Pokemon can be given an Everstone, an item which, when given to the parent Pokemon, allows them to pass down their natures. Although it doesn't have to do with IVs, it is still heavily considered when breeding Pokemon. Now, let me give you guys a little scenario when using those items.
Here I have a 5x31 Lapras,
with the only imperfect IV being in HP. And here, I have a Ditto with completely perfect IVs. So if I give the Ditto a power item to pass down, it's HP. And I give the Destiny Knot to Lapras. Will I get a guaranteed 6 times 31 Lapras from breeding? As you know, a Destiny Knot allows the parent to pass down 5 IVs instead of 3. And the IV that corresponds to the power item that the parent is holding is guaranteed to be part of the 5 IVs that the parents pass down while using a Destiny Knot. And since there are a total of 6 stats, but only 5 can be passed down by the parents, there will still be a remaining stat which IVs will be randomized, with a 1 in 32 chance to be perfect, so you could still end up getting a 5 times 31, or even a 4 times 31 if you're not using any power items. So remember, even if you're breeding Pokemon with the highest of IVs, you could still end up getting 5 times 31 or 4 times 31, due to the Destiny Knot only being able to pass down 5 IVs, and not all 6. That being said, let's try hatching this Lapras and see what IVs we get. Well, apparently I got lucky and actually got a 6 times 31 on the first egg. But I did end up getting a 5 times 31 right after, which proves what I said earlier. Well, that's it for today's video, guys. Anyway, hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you again next time.